Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo, has ordered the closure of the iconic Onitsha Main Market for 1 week. His reason? Traders defied the state's directive to ignore the outlawed IPOB's Monday sit-at-home order. Security agencies have sealed the market, and the governor has warned that the closure could be extended if traders continue to comply with the sit-at-home.
The governor called it economic sabotage and a quiet rebellion against the state authority. This development raises more questions about governance, fear, and the power vacuum in the southeast. Who really controls the streets? Is it the elected leaders or non-state actors? But let's take a look at this video.
Shops locked up. I've peeped inside. A few persons here and there. Okay? Anyone who has not opened, for main market, of all markets, to be shut down. I know that people have done this sit at home on Mondays for quite some time now. And as they say, an abomination that lasts a year becomes culture. No. This can no longer go on in Anambra. Are you hearing me? And I will tell you this. You either decide that you want to trade here or you can go elsewhere. This main market, if you don't want it to open, I'll come and take bulldozer and level it. And I'm very, very serious about it. I'm not joking. Going forward, any Monday, any shop that is not open will be locked for 1 week. And let me tell you this. As I'm speaking to you now, when I finish this whole main market and all the adjoining these things will be locked down for the whole of this week. There will be no market anywhere here. Each Monday will come. If people are not in their respective shops, it will be shut down again. If you like, I don't mind shutting down the market for the remainder of this year. We're not going to allow this. It's plain economic sabotage. And also, we suspect whoever closes their shop to have some criminal intent.
Well, you heard the governor there. Joining us for this discussion is the former Publicity Secretary of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Alex Ogbonna. Thank you so much for joining us, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me start off by asking, what's your take on that video by the governor, giving a clear warning that anyone who fails to lock or open his shop on Monday, especially starting from next week, he would shut down the market space, possibly even telling them that he would do that for the rest of the year. First of all, what's your take?
Yeah, for His Excellency Professor Soludo to go to this extent is because he has been urging them to stop the sit at home, especially on Mondays in Anambra. The same thing happened.
Well, Chief Ogbonna, I'm afraid we seem to have network connectivity challenges there. So we hope that you can reconnect with us so we can hear your thoughts, especially what you think. And what are the chiefs saying, especially members of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo? Well, let's find out if he's able to join us once again. Chief Ogbonna, are you there? Are you there?
I've shifted the position.
Okay, all right, great. So go ahead with your response. You were talking about...
So what I was saying is that the state have been able to overcome that challenge. Enugu has been able to overcome that similar challenge. And Soludo have been urging them not to go on with the sit-at-home on Mondays. But it's like he's been talking to deaf ears. So the measure I are taking now is like a signal to what is likely to happen if they continue to comply with sit-at-home on Mondays. But the fact remains, it's not that the trader want to sit at home on Monday. It is because non-state actors take on the advantage, trying to compel people to stay at home on Mondays. Ordinarily, most people do not want to observe the sit-at-home on Mondays. But you see non-state actors trying to compel people to stay at home on Mondays. So that is the issue. So as far as I'm concerned, Onitsha have been the economic nerve center of the whole Eastern region, if not the whole West Africa, for a very long time. Anything that disrupts Onitsha market is like a sabotage to the economy of not only Onitsha or Anambra, but the entire Southeast. So what Soludo is doing is in order.
Okay, so the question now is, if there's been the declaration that the sit-at-home order be officially lifted, have there been structures that have been put in place to guarantee the safety and the security of citizens? Because all the arguments we hear is that there is fear, there's palpable fear that if people go to work on Mondays, and we've seen it in time past, where citizens will go to work on Monday or they open their stores and they would either be vandalized or they'll be hurt. So what has been put in place to guarantee their safety and their security?
Yeah, the point is that when greatest number, that is to say, when 99% of the people are found in their shops, the chances are that the enforcers may not come. But when you have people scarcely complying, when you have most people complying with this at home, it's easier for the enforcers. But when 99% of people comply with the Soludo's directives, it will not be easy for the enforcers to come into the market to compel people against the governor's directive. So we are all worried that what is happening, the sit-at-home every Monday, is not necessary. And as a matter of fact, the leader of the IPOB had even given a directive that there shouldn't be any sit-at-home on his behalf, on behalf of IPOB. But because of these non-state actors, that has been the problem. So what Soludo has done is he is in the right direction.
Okay, if you say it's in the right direction, the governor himself, while he was coming to the market space, he did come with his convoy. Behind him, you find security men, you find bodyguards, you find police officers. But the people of Anambra State who have their shops there, they don't have the security details guarding them and walking around with them. So do you think it is right that the governor should go ahead and put out this mandate, this directive that they must come out on Monday? What will happen? I mean, we've seen it in the past. You can clarify too that even when they try to defy these orders, this sit-at-home Monday, some persons had their lives taken. Some were shot, some were attacked. So who is going to protect them now that the governor is giving this directive? Or has he put security men on ground?
In the issue that governor came with security, that's official protocol. That's an entirely different ball game. But like I told you, anything you talk security is a collective responsibility. That is security. For instance, assume that 99% of people comply like the main market was before. When we have 99 people in place, it's difficult for any person to begin to enforce it at home. But when you find porosity in terms of scarcity of people in the market, it's easy for the enforcers to have their way. So what I'm telling you is that by the time you have 99% or 100% compliance with the directives of the governor of Anambra, the issue of enforcer will be gone. It has happened in Ebonyi State, it happened in Enugu, and it is just the same thing. As a matter of fact, when you look at the background of IPOB, there's no big. We all know that it was Buhari that heightened the IPOB activism. How did they heighten it? Buhari came with marginalization of the Southeast, and IPOB was saying, instead of continuing to marginalize us, allow us to go. That was what the IPOB was saying. When it was the turn of the Southeast to police the president, there was conspiracy theories against the Southeast. IPOB would say, allow the Igbo to go. That was the thing. And we said, okay, Ohanaeze, why don't you bring in IPOB for discussion on the table? And we discuss all these things and know why they are grievances. If you can bring the bandits for a discussion, bring Boko Haram for a discussion, bring all terms of terrorism for a discussion, why can't you bring in IPOB for discussion on the table for us to iron out some of these things? So the background of IPOB is highly political, based on migration of the people of the Southeast. But in spite of that, we do not encourage the violence component of it. That is what we disagree with. And especially the violence comes in more when some of them are trying to enforce the sit-at-home of Monday. And that is where the component of the violence we're opposed to. But the agitation there was in order because of the treatment given to the Southeast at that time. So it is that background that drives sentiments in favor of IPOB. But in spite of that, we have often told them that when you talk of Biafra now, Biafra is supposed to be of the mind. Biafra of the mind, Biafra of the economy, Biafra of strategy, not Biafra of violence, not Biafra of making noise everywhere. As if people don't have people to respect. And they must be considering the future of our children when you are doing some of these things.
All right.
So we have urged, as Ohanaeze, we have urged IPOB to take it easy. We have urged, in fact, all those people talking about Biafra, take it easy. The issue of Biafra has gone over 50 years ago. And we must have a entirely different approach to the Igbo survivor, Igbo nationalism, not all this kind of recklessness we find among some of our people sometimes. But finally, we are, Ohanaeze is in support. I'm not the spokesman of Ohanaeze now, but I know we have a central philosophy. So, we are in support.
Chief, the question is, the question is, if the governor says that civil servants must work on Monday and that their salaries will be prorated, one will understand because the civil servants are working for the government. But the market people are private individuals, and some would argue that they have a right to decide that they do not want to, they want to rest one day a week. For example, here in Lagos, I know of certain businesses, salons for example, that would work all through the weekend, and as a result, they take Monday off. So how do we find that thin line between the governor trying to ensure that he outlaws a certain order, which he probably does not, which he definitely does not agree with, and respecting citizens' rights to freedom of choice? Business people should be able to decide if they want to go to work or not. Don't you agree?
The point that we all know how this sit-at-home started. There's no need changing all this revisionism. It's not necessary. Because the story is very clear. How IPOB came to this point, how sit-at-home evolved is clear to everybody. So it is very clear that these people are trying to, the sit-at-home is as a result of IPOB agitation. So it's no matter of choice. Like I've told you, I live in the East, I live in any person who is sitting at home on Monday, it's not because he likes to sit at home, but he's only scared of the enforcers, that they may be wounded and things like that. That is what is happening. Not they are happy. But now, what I'm saying that if a person comes to the street at the same time, if a person comes to the market at the same time, if the market is full all at the same time, if all the civil servants they engage the streets at the same time, it will be difficult for the enforcer. That is what we are saying. And when you talk about choice, it's not choice. It's a matter of fact they are scared of their lives, and that's why they stay at home. That is the position. It's not a matter of their choice. And of course, you must know that activity in the market and all over Anambra is still part of the governance. When you talk of governance, not government, but governance. When the sectors are working well, that is when the government is working well.
Chief, in 30 seconds, since you are saying that as a result, we're trying to see numbers. Chief, if you can hear me, you're saying that the larger the number of people that show up, the harder it will be for the enforcers of sit at home. So what I'm asking is, the level of security, is there a guarantee from the government that if citizens return to the market on Monday, they will not be hurt? Or are they going to do there's a guarantee?
I've explained it 3 times, and I'm about to explain it again. When all of them come out at the same time, security is collecting responsibility. It will be difficult for the enforcers to begin to act. But when you have scarce people sparsely or scarcely attending to their business, it will be easier for enforcers. So there will be security from the state. There at the same time, each person is a security unto himself. Each person is a security.
So you're shifting the burden of protecting. So that's my issue. My issue there is, if you're telling people to come out en masse because the larger the people showing up, the harder it will be for the enforcement. You're shifting the responsibility of securing lives and citizens from the government to the citizens. And no citizen, for example, if I was certain or if I wasn't sure that going out would be safe for me, I would not go out. I'm not going to risk myself because there's an assumption that if many people came out, they won't be able to hurt us. The government should be able to guarantee that there will be security to the extent that no Anambra citizen will lose their life because they are going to work.
That is implied. Of course, it's implied. Government will do everything to make sure that guarantee is there. So it's implied in the directive.
Okay. Thank you so much, former Publicity Secretary of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Ogbonna, for speaking with us. Thank you.